Alright, all the lighters are officially out. That was a very interesting test. So it's been about 11 minutes since I first started lighting the lighters. The large Zippo, or full-size Zippo, was the one that went out last. So of course these are screaming hot. I'm going to let this sit for probably half an hour or so, make sure they are completely cooled, and then we're going to go back inside and inspect them, see if they're still functional, and if there's still fluid in them. It's been about 25 minutes or so. Just want to make sure that all these lighters were totally cool to the touch. And now we're inside and we're going to inspect them, see what's going on. So the first thing I noticed is this. This is the metal clipper. All right, and I told you while this was burning, I heard a little popping noise. Something shot across the porch. And unfortunately, it was the wheel. So let me zoom in here. I'm assuming, I thought this was all metal construction, but clearly what housed the like the little arms for the actual wheel was plastic. So obviously the plastic there melted to a point where the spring tension shot the wheel and the flint somewhere in my porch, which I have to go find. All right, so unfortunately the metal clipper had a total catastrophe, again, just because of the plastic that was integrated into this. All right, also just happen to notice that the lid is very hard to open and close as well. Not sure what happened there, kind of got deformed somehow from the heat. Not that it matters because there's no way to fix this. Unfortunately, this is broken. All right, but that's so that's a complete failure, the actual clipper. Let's move on to the IMCO lighter, which was heat anodized here. All right, let's see. You can see all the coloring on top. It's kind of cool looking. Also, I noticed that I forgot to pull the chimney down, which does not go down now. That's unfortunate. Let's see if I can get this to light. Still sparking. Yeah, see this part here slides down. Oh, there we go. It's very stiff now, so it might need to be scrubbed or cleaned. So if you're not familiar with this lighter, this goes down to allow more oxygen to come through these slots. So when you have a flame going, it could be a higher flame. If you close that, it's a lower flame, but also just for storage so it doesn't get dirty in there. All right, one of my favorite lighter designs, by the way, besides Zippos. So yeah, as of right now, not currently working. Let me open the bottom. I was kind of just smelling to see if there's fuel left. Look in here. That smells pretty toasty on the inside. It actually smells kind of burnt. I don't smell any fuel at all, so it's very possible that it just literally ran out of fuel. But I will definitely refill these lighters. Besides this one, obviously this one's kaput. I can't do anything with that. But I will refill these other lighters to see if they're still functional. Right now we're just kind of inspecting them. You can see all the black soot. A lot of soot on this one. All right, let's see if it works. Nope. The actual wicks on these lighters might have actually just burned so much that even if there's fuel left, they're so charred they're not holding fuel. That's very possible. So I'll also lift the wicks on all these and trim them so there's a fresh wick. But right now that one's not lighting. Check out the Zippo Slim. Uh-oh. The cam here is what leaves the, or allows the lid to stay open. This is not really functioning very well. Doesn't really sound like a Zippo anymore. So that did something to the cam spring. All the extra heat might have distorted that. And you can see some coloring on the chimney. And also just a very burnt smell. I don't really smell any fuel. So this might have literally just ran out of fuel from burning. And of course the full-size Zippo, same deal. The difference though is the cam's fine on this one. Still opens totally fine. All right, so it doesn't look like the heat affected that at all. Take out the insert. Again, just a little heat coloring on the top there. Ooh, I actually smell fuel. I smell fuel in here. More than likely the wick is just so burnt that it's not holding the fuel anymore. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to grab some pliers. I'm going to pull up all the wicks on these lighters, trim them so we have a fresh wick, and try to light them again, because these might have fuel in them. But like I said, if the actual wick is so burnt, there's no material left to soak up that fuel, it's not going to light. All right, so that's interesting. I tried to pull the wick up, and the little bit that was there was charred and just kind of fell apart with the pliers. But it was the last bit of wick that was in this lighter. When I pulled the insert out, or all the filling, there's no more wick. So I have to find, I'll use a Zippo wick and replace that. But what's interesting is that it almost worked like making char cloth. You can see how charred this is from all that heat. And you can smell it. It smells like burnt popcorn. All right, so it's been probably a half an hour and I cannot get the wick back in here. What actually turned out to be, there was plenty of wick left. It was actually curled up way on the bottom. So when I was poking at it, I used a little paper clip. I was poking at it to get the ash out, and then the actual wick fell out. All right, so there's plenty of wick, but it's like impossible to get this back through this way because the hole is jagged. So I can't put it down this way very easily. I'll figure it out. I just don't have the patience right now to do this. So to be continued on the IMCO. Even though this is charred, I don't foresee any reason why it should not work. If I put it back together with the wick where it's supposed to be, put more fuel in there, it should probably work, but I'll find out in the future. I have a little bit more patience with that. Besides that, the other 3 lighters here, I already put fluid back in, so it's been sitting there, saturating. Let's see if they work. So here's the regular Zippo. Remember, we pulled the wicks up and trimmed them. And there you go. Took a couple of flicks, but it is working. All right, so let's try that again. Very nice. So it's still a functional lighter even after that very long burn. Very interesting. All right, let's try the Zippo Slim. Again, it's such a shame. There's something wrong with this cam spring. Sounds a little better than before for some reason. It's actually going all the way down now. Not really sure what's going on there. But anyway, throwing off a really weak spark. Probably needs a new flint. It's not throwing enough sparks. Let me put a new flint in there. I'll be right back. All right, let's take a look and see what's going on. Yeah, the flint's barely there, so I just need a new flint. Nothing to do with this test. This was an older model lighter anyway, so. All right, so let's try this now. We have a new flint. Oh, there we go. See, first shot. So, the Zippos, full size and slim, still work. This one just happened to need a new flint. So that's great to know. And like I said, the more I'm playing with this, the more that cam spring's working out fine. It is actually opening. You can hear it clicking. It's a little bit on the floppy side. Again, all the extra heat might have warped that bar a little bit. The cam spring is a little bit thinner, obviously, on the smaller ones than the full size. But it's still functional. Let's try the no-name lighter. Look at that, first shot. All right, so yeah, even though these were lit for an extended period of time, all that needed to be done was the wicks pulled up because they were totally charred away. Pulled up a little bit, trimmed off so you have a fresh wick, more fluid in there, and you were good to go. So the only complete failure is the clipper lighter. And again, it's only because of that plastic. I did not notice before that it had that plastic part in here that held the wheel in. I assumed that these were all metal construction lighters, but I was wrong, so that failed. And again, in the future, I'll try out the IMCO, but again, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work. So I just gotta fiddle with that wick to get it through the body. All right, I'm back. I finally did it. I ended up just making the hole just a little bit bigger and kind of putting the end in there and twisting, eventually it went through. So, just filled it up. We will see if this works. How about that? So yes, it does work. See how the chimney's closed? Take note of how big the flame is, right? Once you open this up, allow some air to go in there to get a larger flame. All right, so the IMCO works as well. So yeah, I'm glad I did that. Just like I said, a little bit more patience there. So there you go. That's the end of the testing all 4 out of the 5 lighters still work totally fine. It's pretty conclusive that if you're going to leave it, lit that long, it's going to really burn up that wick. So obviously that's not good, but it's not going to keep the lighter from working. You just got to trim off the burnt part of the wick and refill them, and they're good to go. So what do we learn from this testing? Well, we learned that the Zippo Slim starts to get a little funkier faster than the full-size Zippo, maybe just because of its size, but you get that really high flame. It didn't damage the lighter, it just burnt the wick, but that was very consistent with all 5 of these lighters. Even on the clipper, even though I can't use it anymore, I can see that the wick is completely charred away. So if you leave your lighter lit, for an extended period of time and it doesn't work anymore, just pull up the wick and trim it off. But generally speaking, you probably don't want to leave it lit for a long period of time anyway. I will say, because these are all metal, any one of these lighters, if you keep it lit in your hand, the actual body of the lighter is going to get so hot and uncomfortable, you're going to put it out or put it down anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? But generally speaking, probably shouldn't keep them lit for, more than a minute or 2. So that's it. Post your comments and feelings down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.